Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from our sponsor. The Daily Compliance News for November 2, 2022, the I Did It for Love edition. Today we have 4 stories about cheating in sports. And the first comes to us from CBS Channel 9 in Dallas, which reports that last year's state boys basketball team was stripped of its state title, and the girls basketball team was banned from the playoffs. Both coaches were suspended for a year. The women's coach was suspended for illegal practices, but the coach's story is more interesting. He was dating a woman whose son was the top basketball player in the state of Texas. The mother and son relocated from their hometown to Duncanville, where he became the star on the state's Class 6A basketball championship team. He was the MVP. He was allowed the university athletic board for high school sports suspended him. He went to court and got an injunction. That injunction went to the Court of Appeals, which upheld the injunction, and then it went to the Texas Supreme Court, which invalidated and vacated the injunction. The UIL took the position that all games were then played with an illegal player and required the company, or rather the school, to forfeit the games. The mother of the putative player has now become engaged to the coach. So she claims she moved together with her son so they could be a family. The UIL was having none of it. Next comes up a story, 2 stories rather, about the upcoming World Cup from Qatar. The first is ESPN, and the second is from SI.com. In the ESPN story, it says that Qatar is paying for fans' flights and hotel rooms for good PR. So that is not anything new. There are lots of influencers who paid, but it's not clear if they are announcing that they're being paid. The second story is a little bit more troubling, and it involves the concept of greenwashing, which Qatar claims that its World Cup will be carbon neutral, and it turns out that's not quite true. It's not carbon neutral. It's creating a lot of pollution. Our final story comes to us from the Wall Street Journal, which says there's a huge cheating scandal in cornhole called Baggate. So yes, cheating has even come to cornhole. How can you get any lower than that? Apparently not. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.